Hello, this is Gavin Young.
Hi, my name is Jack Myers.
Hey, I'm Greg Carr II. We are
One.
Mike.
Trio.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back. Greg, interesting fact.
Bet. Okay, so in the spirit of today's theme, it will be a football fun fact. Fun fact, in the upcoming Super Bowl for the very first time, Travis Kelce and Jason Kelce, the Kelce brothers, will be on opposing sides. The first ever Brother Bowl. It is literally the first time it's ever happened in the NFL's history. The Kelce brothers are both pretty dominant on their sides of the ball, and I don't think it'll ever happen again, to be honest.
They're the best two at their
positions.
positions.
They're the best two at their positions.
All right. Well,
yeah, that's the fun fact.
All right, that's a great fun fact. Well, as you guys heard, the topic of today will be obviously sports. It'll be the NFL Super Bowl, and we're going to try to talk about a little bit of the 2023 free agency, but mostly the Super Bowl, what we're looking forward to and all that, because it's the one mic duo for today. Gavin is taking care of some things. He's doing some homework and stuff like that.
So we're going to hold down the fort.
Yeah, so it's going to be Greg and I today, and it's going to be really fun. So I guess we just get right into it. Super Bowl's coming up. We are less than a week away.
February 12th, 5:30 p.m. kickoff.
Yep.
I cannot wait.
This should be a good one. I know a lot of people are kind of like, this is going to be a boring one unless you're like a Chiefs and Eagles fan, but it's really not. The two number one seeds are going up against each other.
Yes.
Like, people are like, oh, this is going to be so boring because of who the teams are. It's the two number one seeds. Like, how could this be a boring game?
Honestly.
I don't see it. I mean, I could see why people think that, but we'll get more into it. But anyways, I guess right off the bat, who do we both have to win it?
My prediction for... it's really hard for me because both of them are very good teams.
Yeah.
But I do think the Eagles will etch it out over the Chiefs. And I'll even throw a final score in there. I'll say Eagles 37, Chiefs 34.
Okay, so a really close game.
Really close game.
I think it will be a close game, especially if the defense has the game they did, like against the Bengals, because those rookies were coming up big in that game. Those two interceptions, one was tipped, but they were both, I believe, by rookies.
Yeah.
This defense really has come to play. It's weird how it's the youngest defense the Chiefs have had in the last couple of years, and it's been this good to get them to where they need to be, which is the Super Bowl. Which
is a Super Bowl.
A lot of people had the Chiefs not even making the playoffs this year before the season even started. A lot of big time reporters said, Raiders got better, Broncos got better.
the Raiders.
Yeah, because they got Devontae Adams.
He
was the best wide receiver
at the time.
Yeah, because you could say obviously differently now.
Yeah, very much so.
But obviously, there's also other things that come into play with that. But yeah, still top five. Depending on where you have him. But yeah, and the Russell Wilson trade, because before Russell Wilson got to the Broncos, but Nathaniel Hackett had a big play in that.
Broncos country, you're fried.
Yeah.
I will continue to make these jokes until Russell Wilson gets it together.
And then when the Chargers, they got like Khalil Mack, and everyone was like, Justin Herbert might edge out the MVP this year, and the Chargers might take the first seed, and I was like,
and then look where they ended up, blowing a 27-0 lead to the Jaguars.
Yeah, they charged it up, which was not the greatest thing. But yeah, a lot of people didn't have the Chiefs making it. They had them going like 9-8, and I was like, I understand we lost Tyreek, but we still had Travis Kelce. Nick Bolton is a stellar middle linebacker.
McKinnon.
Even though Clyde's been, but Pacheco grew. Watson.
Yeah.
Trent McDuffie, even though he was injured at the beginning of the season, he has not really been targeted. We got Justin Reed. Yes, we lost a big player.
And Valdez-Scantling.
Yeah, Valdez-Scantling, which a lot of people said that was the worst signing.
And Juju Smith-Schuster.
People were like, okay, Juju's a fine signing, but when the Chiefs signed MVS, everyone was like, that's a horrible signing. Not true at all. I mean, he had a game of his life against Eli Apple and Hilton, and those are two. Those are I know Eli Apple talks a lot, but let's not. The man still has some pretty he's still good.
He's solid. He's the Patrick Beverly of the Bengals,
definitely
for sure.
And a lot of people compare the Bengals to the Memphis Grizzlies because of how young they are and how much they talk, even though they haven't. You could say accomplished the most. They've had impressive runs, but they've not I know people are gonna say they won the AFC Championship, but I'm saying like they haven't won the big trophy yet, and they always acted like they are the ones to beat when they haven't beat the ones to beat. You know.
This is true.
So, but yeah, no. Bengals were really great this year. No,
Yes,
they deserve to be
They'll
where
be
they
back.
were. Yeah.
They'll be back.
Oh yeah, no.
Trust and
It's definitely gonna be the Bills, Bengals, and Chiefs all going at it for years to come.
Oh yeah.
And Chargers will get in there. Jaguars will get in there, but you know.
Okay, yeah. They'll have their little windows, but for now it's those three.
But no, I respect that score. That's a really good score. I feel like a lot of people are saying that the Eagles are gonna blow out the Chiefs because of the injuries, but I'm pretty sure it's looking like Juju and Kadarius Toney, and you know the injury to Mahomes. That's a 3 to 6 week injury heal, and he had a week to let it heal before the Bengals, and he said it was completely fine after. Like there was no more like strain or anything on it. So that's 3 weeks. He could
say what you want about Mahomes. He is a fighter.
Yeah, I mean,
and this is coming from me.
Yeah, I know, and you know and to be fair, like this season has been. You could say up and actually I wouldn't even think it'd be up and down for the Chiefs. I think they've had some really closer games than they would expect, but I think that's because you know this is the youngest team Mahomes has had. Yeah. Mahomes was, and you know what's funny? I heard a podcast talk about this earlier. It was the Caps Off podcast.
Yeah,
and they were like, "Would you rather?" Yeah, no, they actually have some good takes. They do say some stuff, you know, that's pretty crazy, but they said, "Would you rather be a quarterback born into the system or grow with the system?" And they were talking about how you should be more because Mahomes was born to the system, which really helped him out a lot because that's the thing too. It's like you think about it, you know, guys like Mahomes, Tom Brady, he was born into a great system with a great head coach. Same with Mahomes, and he definitely they both had guys, you know, who
they could trust.
Yeah, who they could trust. You know, and you know, there's some guys who like Baker Mayfield. He had to grow into the system because
with the Browns,
you know, and how that's looked. Same with Sam Darnold. You know, guys like that. Yeah. But Sam Darnold actually hasn't played bad with the Panthers, but the Panthers have had a lot of issues.
Really bad.
They've had issues all around, but that defense is underrated, I will say.
Really?
I think the defense is. I think his name, Jace Horn, one of their cornerbacks. He like. No, the Panthers defense I think was a little bit underrated, but you know the record's not going to show because you know the offense was struggling. You know they trade away Robbie Anderson, stuff like that. We're getting off topic, but we just want to talk about that. But yeah, no, 37-34. I think it will be a close game.
I give it to the Eagles by a field goal.
It's going to be either a 1 or 2 score game at the most. I think, unless a team just dominates. I would say, and I am a Chiefs fan, I'm still going to pick my guys, but I will say I'm okay with either team winning this because I like both teams.
Yeah.
My team is more of the Chiefs, but my uncle, you know, I always talk about this, he's an Eagles fan. I'm going to say that this game is going to be, I'm going to say 31-24 Chiefs take it. I think that the Chiefs are going to be pretty dominant in the game. The Eagles are going to fight. It's going to come down to the last drive of the game, but I think the defense will come up big and they'll solidify with a turnover. I think so in any format of that.
Yeah.
But no, this is going to be a great game.
Yeah.
I think whoever wins this, the team deserves. Obviously, Eagles were the best built team this season.
Yes, they were.
Whereas I feel like when it comes to the Chiefs, they were the most gelled team because they had very good chemistry. Like you would look at the rosters of like the AFC West and all the teams, like the big top teams, and you're like, wow, they have like all these other teams have better players, you could say, because Bengals had the best receiving core I think in the league, 1 through 3, not just 1 through 3, because Tyler Boyd could be a second option on any team or possibly a first with some good pieces built around him. But yeah, and then you look at the Bills, who they had a really good defense and offense. They did have some injuries, which kind of, you know, took a lot away from them. But yeah. And then you have even the Chargers. That defense was stellar. You had Derwin James, Khalil Mack, like a bunch of guys. And, you know, obviously didn't get to where they were. Yeah. But yeah, I really think that the Chiefs, when you looked at their roster, obviously the other teams, you're like, okay, they really don't have the best roster, like the best guys, you know, on offense. You have a young defense. You're like, okay, that's not the best. But I feel like when it comes to gelling, they gel really well together. I think there was even a clip where Juju said, like, earlier in the season, him, Mahomes, Kelsey, and MVS like played Call of Duty, and that he could tell in the game that they were all their comms and their communication was really great.
Yeah.
So they definitely, and that's the thing I think the Chiefs do well. They have the guys who are on the team gel so well together. So I think you have 2 great head coaches, Andy Reid and Nick Sirianni. I think I said his name right.
Yeah.
That might not be his first name.
That's right.
But yeah, Sirianni, I think his play calling is great. I wouldn't say he's one of the top coaches because
If he pulls this off, he will be.
I think so, but also you got to look at, like I said, they have one of the best built teams, so I think he was born into a great system.
I mean,
But Sirianni actually has some very good coaching background to him. But
Yeah.
I think you look at the talent on that team. You got AJ Brown.
Devonta Smith.
You
Dallas
got
Goedert.
what was it? Robert Quinn? They traded for Robert Quinn.
Hassan Reddick.
Great veteran,
Yeah.
Darius Slay.
Darius Slay. At
Like
corner.
the Eagles
Yeah.
got stacked this offseason. And you think of last season, they versed the Buccaneers in the first round and they lost. They were like a 10-7, 9, or no, that was 2 years ago maybe. But they were still like a teetering playoff team. And then they made the trades to really get ahead. But yeah, you have the best center in the league.
You have, I would say you arguably have the best receiving core in the league.
Really? I would say Bengals. But I can understand it.
Yeah, because like that duo of Devonta Smith and
AJ Brown.
just
But then
goes
I'm looking at like
insane.
Quez Watkins, who yes, he's a really speedy third option. But like if I'm looking at him against Tyler Boyd, I'm not taking Quez Watkins over
Yeah,
Tyler
well,
Boyd.
I'm only looking at the top two.
Yeah.
Because like that's only who, if Jalen Hurts decides to throw the ball, he's gonna throw it to them.
Which that's a big thing too that we need to talk about.
Yeah.
Because one of the biggest things that the Eagles have done well this year is the run game. And Chiefs have been notoriously good at stopping the run game.
Yeah.
So I really think that the one thing that the Chiefs can, if they really emphasize on it, if they can stop that run defense, I think that's what's going to get to the Eagles a lot. Obviously the Eagles have a lot of guys. They have Kenneth Gainwell, they have Miles Sanders, and they have Boston Scott. 3 solid running backs. And I think that's what the Chiefs kind of have too. They have Pacheco, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, if he's healthy, and McKinnon. They all do things very differently from one another. They all have different games. And I think that's what's so great about the Eagles run game, and that's what's special about it. But Jalen Hurts is going to have to use his arm in this game.
I don't think he will.
I think you have to a little bit. I mean,
sure. He, like I said, you have Devonta Smith out one way and AJ Brown on the other. Mm-hmm. Like he'll have options, right? He will have options. However, I think he's going to stick to what he does best, which is tuck it and run.
Yeah, that will be something that the Chiefs will have to make sure to watch out. Always have a spy on him.
Yeah, they're going to have to adjust.
Yeah,
because I would say he's probably one of the most mobile quarterbacks in the league right now.
If we're talking about, I mean, you could say that too because, like I said, he is the best offensive line in the league.
Yes,
so he's able to make those plays like that. Whereas a guy like Lamar and like you could say Burrow, they have to work around their offensive line. Where Jalen Hurts can work with his offensive line, and they can make plays for that. Even like a guy like Josh Allen too, like his offensive line, it's good.
It's okay.
Yeah,
it's okay.
But when you have a line like that, you can rush a lot more. You can make those design run plays, and yes, and the Ravens still do that too. But obviously they didn't have the starting quarterback to be able to really do it more.
Do you think the Ravens win that game if they have Lamar?
Yeah, I think the Bengals were blowing that game.
They were.
Tyler Huntley, if he does not fumble that ball, Ravens win.
This is true.
They win that game.
Very off topic, but him being a Pro Bowl quarterback, how do we feel about that? Just really quickly.
It was very strange.
I also found it very strange because I feel like there were at least a few other solid options.
Yeah. I don't know how the selecting. I guess this year they tried to pick guys who were in the playoffs. The quarterbacks that were in or no, maybe not. No, because Derek Carr was in there.
I don't know. Derek Carr was there.
I mean, to be fair, when you're looking at the top guys, it's like Lawrence, it's Mahomes, it's Burrow, it's Allen. You kind of have to be like, okay, well, Lamar's out, so they probably were going to give it to Lamar in the end if he were to play more.
So they give it to his backup.
They give it to the backup. Maybe that's what happened is that Lamar got voted.
Big ups to him. Being a Pro Bowl quarterback is no.
But he did good. Like they said, he did really good in all the skills challenges. I think I heard.
Yeah.
Like he did good. No, Tyler Huntley he's a starting quarterback. He has the talent. I think he's got that potential to be a starting quarterback, kind of like Gardner Minshew, who he's a backup right now.
Yeah.
He definitely should get a shot in the team, but there's obviously some big quarterbacks on the move this offseason. But we'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
But yeah, I guess that goes into our next topic, which you just talked about, the Ravens and the Bengals game.
Yep.
Your favorite postseason game leading up to the Super Bowl?
Well, I will tell you what it's not: the Bucks versus the Cowboys. 'Cause
Yeah.
my Bucks are out in the playoffs, and
Yeah.
Tom Brady is now retired, so they're no longer my Bucks. Sorry, but if I had to pick one, I would have to go the Jags versus the Chargers.
Really?
That game would listen. Hear me out. I'm going to say something very crazy. But if the Chargers don't blow that lead, I do think they make it all the way to the Super Bowl.
I don't.
I honestly do. And hear me out. Because if they take that momentum from beating the Jags, right, and go into their next game, who did the Jags end up playing?
They played the Chiefs.
I think that would have been a great game. I think the Chargers would have gave the Chiefs a run for their money.
Yeah.
Like, it would have been close. Like, I'd say field goal, not like one score, field goal. But I think if the Chargers don't blow that lead, they're probably the ones in the Super Bowl right now.
I don't think so, because
Also, that comeback.
yeah,
that comeback.
No, the comeback was great. The Jaguars were definitely the most surprising team of the playoffs.
Yes, they were.
A lot of people doubted the Christian Kirk signing, and look where it got Trevor Lawrence and that team. And that's another thing too. They gelled very well. That's another team that just gelled at the right time and got hot at the right time. But I don't think so for the Chargers. Here's my take on the Chargers. They have a quarterback who's never had playoff experience. Justin Herbert's never been in the big time, and same with Trevor Lawrence.
Right.
And the Chargers took their foot off the gas. And that's why I think if the Chargers would have won that game, they would have probably not made it farther. Because it's the same thing why I believe the Jaguars also lost to the Chiefs is the experience level. Yes, there are guys on that team that have had playoff experience, but when your quarterback is playing his first game, that's always the hardest game to play in.
Yeah.
Because, all pressure is on you to make the big plays
Yeah.
and all of that, especially for that Chargers team who had a lot of injuries to their receiving corps from Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. But Joshua Palmer played amazing. Took his opportunities when he needed them. But, the team with the experience is most
played
likely.
really well.
Oh yeah, the team with the most who has experience is usually going to win against a team who doesn't have experience.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a quarterback just playing their first playoff game, because the atmosphere is way different. And I think what also helped the Jaguars is that they were playing at their home field, because that crowd got wild after they were starting to come back. Like
They
it got
sure
wild.
did.
And that's why I think one of the reasons why the Jaguars too.
It's like a 12th man.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why the Jaguars struggled against the Chiefs, because they realized the atmosphere in these big time stadiums of teams whose fans have seen them do this the last couple years, especially if they would have versed the Bills or the Bengals, the Jaguars would have versed them, they would have seen how those stadiums are.
Yeah.
Because they were the lowest seed out of the four.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that, it would have been the same thing for the Chargers. Also, the Chargers lost both their games against the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs went undefeated against their division. They went 6-0.
I still think the Chargers would have pulled it out had they not blown that lead. But I'd also like to highlight the coaching by Doug Peterson. My goodness.
I mean, hey, he won that Super Bowl with Nick Foles.
With Nick Foles, he pulled out some gutsy calls against that Chargers team.
Oh, yeah,
for
he did.
for that game.
You have to put all
Yeah,
your
the
best
man
plays.
responsible for calling the Philly special in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Nick Foles.
Like, I didn't doubt it for a second.
The game that cemented Nick Foles' legacy. He might not have been the best quarterback ever, but he damn sure played his ass off as a backup.
And he damn sure a Super Bowl winning QB.
Yes.
A lot of greats cannot say that about them.
Yep. Not even some
current players.
Yeah, they could never
like
say
Derek
that.
Carr.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott. Deshaun Watson. I could go on a list.
Phillip
here.
Rivers can never.
Phillip Rivers.
He's never been that big time.
That's only because he played in an era with Manning and Brady.
Yeah.
Like and Breeze and Rodgers. Like, he was going to get overshadowed.
He was the odd man out.
He was the odd man
Which is
out.
something we have to talk about of all these quarterbacks, when it comes to Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Lamar, Herbert. Now you got Trevor Lawrence in that conversation.
Yeah.
Those are probably
They're going to be fighting for who's number one.
Jalen Hurts. He's coming more into conversation. I would not say I'd put him. I would say
Top 10.
if this Eagles team, I'm just gonna say next season, if they do as well as they did this season or a little bit less, then you definitely put Jalen Hurts more in that conversation, because this is his first real season really taking that next big step.
Yeah.
And same with Trevor Lawrence. That's why I'm also going to say that for him too. These two have just now started to cement their legacy. But yeah, no, we definitely will have that talk when it's all said and done with all their careers, because those are the best right now.
Yeah, they go pretty hard.
But yeah, I would say my favorite postseason game. I'm going to exclude all the Chiefs games. I'm going to exclude them. I don't want to be a biased fan.
You don't want to be biased.
I do not want to be a biased fan.
Yeah.
If I'm looking at a good one, I would honestly give it to the Dolphins versus Bills in that first round.
Really?
Here's the thing. I think Bengals and Bills might have both lost if the starting QPs played. I think Tua could have overcame the Bills.
Really?
Yes, because they won early in the season with Tua in a 20-17 game against the Bills. So I really think that both the Ravens and the Dolphins could have gave both the Bengals and the Bills more of a run for their money if both their starting QBs were out. Because Tua took the next step. He also needed this season too. And the reason why I only didn't include Tua in there as well is because of the injuries. And we don't know what is going to happen to him this offseason. If he's going to retire, if he's going to keep playing. That's really up in the air.
Retire.
I think he should, but if you're a guy who's a big competitor as he is,
he's gonna try and
he's gonna try to play. But if you get if you get another 2 concussion season, you're done, because he had concussions also in his college career.
Yeah,
his brain, he's gonna have a lot of problems later in his life, and that's what I think a lot of fans, if you're not I think Dolphins fans too will say that they want him to play, but they want him to be safe.
They also want him to be healthy and
maybe safe. The NFL looks into more changing that
concussion protocols.
Well, the construction of helmets and how you maybe give quarterbacks a little bit more protection in their helmets if possible, because. I know a lot of guys, they're going to be, a lot of people might say, well, you should do that for all players. Yeah, but when you look at the quarterbacks and how they get tackled sometimes. Yeah, but obviously all the new, rules when it comes to roughing the passer. But Tua got it the most this season, I felt like. Even more than Joe Burrow. He had more of the scarier falls.
Yeah. I'm surprised Joe Burrow isn't concussed with the way that O-line has been playing.
I think he definitely gets tackled more in the body or, at his legs.
I swear. Yeah, didn't he have an ACL injury?
He had an ACL injury his rookie year.
His rookie year, yeah. Mm-hmm. And yet I would like to point out that the Bengals have not protected Joe Burrow at all.
Well, the offensive line, I think 3 of their players were injured. Their best offensive lineman also was injured. So.
I need the Bengals to invest in a new O-line.
Well, the Bengals are one of the teams this offseason, which we're going to talk about, is one that a lot of people are looking towards of who they're going to re-sign or not. Because you have some big contracts to give out to big players.
Yeah, like Joe Burrow.
I think Joe Burrow, T. Higgins. Maybe Jamar? I'm not sure.
I don't think Jamar.
I think he's got one more year on his rookie year. At least.
But yeah, Joe Burrow and T. Higgins for sure.
I think Jesse Bates is another.
Yeah.
Eli Apple, I think, is another as well.
Do you re-sign Eli Apple?
Well, we'll talk about that. But yeah, I think that's my biggest thing. I think both the Ravens and the Dolphins, if they were fully healthy, they would have given the other 2 teams a run for their money. But also the Bills were injured, same too.
Yeah.
But
it's a game about attrition and health. To be honest,
I do think that game said a lot about what the Dolphins offense can do and how good of a coach Mike McDaniels is. Because he made some good calls in that game. He's made good calls all this year with that team. He's used the speed of his 2 receivers in Waddle and Hill.
While vaping on the sidelines.
I wonder if that was real or not.
That had to be real. There's no way.
I don't know. But
I don't know.
Mike McDaniels is a stud. He's a stud head coach.
He's safe for another season for sure.
Oh yeah. I think he's definitely safe no matter what happens this next season. I think he is a guy who can lead that Dolphins team to a second or even AFC championship in his career.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, we'll get into our next thing, which is, do you have any Super Bowl traditions?
Super Bowl traditions. Let's see. Well, I've been an avid football lover since birth.
Okay.
So I've usually worn my old high school football jersey that I had framed. I usually take it out the frame sometimes, and I put it on and I watch the game. You feel me? Because I don't know. It's just nice because I don't have you never know who's going to be in the Super Bowl, and I don't want to buy 32 jerseys.
Yep.
So I feel like putting on my own jersey and cheering for the team that I want. I feel like it's A-okay for me. That's what I do. It's
also hard buying sometimes jerseys when you get a guy and you never know if they're going to get traded or not unless you know they're a staple player. I have a Mahomes and Kelsey jersey.
Oh.
That's all I have because Kelsey's been on this team how long? He's never going to get traded. Same with Mahomes, obviously. He's got a 15-year So like he's playing till he's 37.
Who,
so.
Mahomes?
Yeah, he's at 50.
Absolutely. Like before it's said and done, he will be the greatest of all time. I will say that.
Really?
I will say that.
Hey, I respect that. But we have to respect. I know how much we get at each other for Brady and Mahomes, but
yeah.
I mean,
but I can't. I'm going to say that now because Brady is officially retired. Okay.
Yeah.
I understand. Mm-hmm. But Mahomes is next up.
If how I'm looking at these two, I'm gonna give a lot of praise to your guy. Because I know I don't like him, but I always say that he's the best though. I don't disrespect the man when I'm saying he's the best, greatest of all time.
Absolutely not.
If we're looking at how the careers of those two will go, this should be its own podcast, but let's get into it now. This will be this mini segment. If we're looking at those two, in my honest opinion, Tom Brady's gonna have one of probably the, you could say, accomplished careers. Because with how talented the league is now with Mahomes and how many guys he has to go through like Brady did, we don't know how great Mahomes, and this, because they need to get him weapons. They need to give him one weapon on offense.
Who? Mahomes?
They need to get him just not like a Tyreek Hill level, but someone who, they need like a guy who could be a surefire second or third that can stay healthy most of the year.
About to say, Mahomes already has a giant bazooka on his right shoulder called Travis Kelce.
Yeah. Also, Jody Fortson and Noah Gray are great backup tight ends. They are. It's crazy to me how good he got without Tyreek Hill. That improved his game because, he had to just be the gunslinger, throw it downfield 60 yards, let Tyreek or McCole catch it. The best thing that's ever happened to Mahomes' career that we're going to see, I think, was Tyreek Hill leaving. Yeah,
the depth of this...
He improved his game. He's one of the best pocket passers this season.
I hate to swallow my words, but, depending on how this offseason is looking, because I'm looking for a new team now that Brady's retired. But
there's a lot of great teams to pick from. I think you should find someone in the NFC. I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
Because it'd be fun having you NFC and me AFC. Because we could definitely go at like the other teams, which would be fun.
I know, but I am unfortunately may or may not be leaning towards the Chiefs. But
hey. I accept.
But I still got a lot to choose from. So, Jack, enough about me. Let's talk about you. What do you have any Super Bowl traditions that you do?
My family will usually. Well, I've watched it more now. When it's a team that we really like, we either spend it with family. We get some like wings, pizza, all that stuff. Enjoy our time. Like when it was the Bucks versus Chiefs that one year, we got pizza and we got wings and we were just chowing down. We honestly had like a nice dinner together and then we watched the game.
Then you watched the game?
Yeah. So spending time with family, because my mom, myself, and my dad, we all watch the games.
Of course.
Sometimes my sister will come down and watch it too, but she's not the biggest person. But definitely this year, we're trying to get our uncle to come down here because he's the Eagles fan. And it would be really fun. But also he has his family up there as well.
Right.
So
trust and believe he is watching the Super Bowl.
Oh, he's watching it.
He's watching it in Philly. Come on.
It's gonna be so funny. We're definitely gonna see. Well, no, he actually lives close to us. Like he lives 3 hours away.
Really?
So he was. I think he was raised in Philadelphia, but then he came here.
I swear, man, he should go to Philly to watch it. I'm not gonna lie.
I know, it'd be great, but all his family is where he lives right now. But yeah, no, it's just spending time with family. That's what I like to do. Maybe go over to my grandparents. I don't know, but we'll see what happens.
Nice Super Bowl party.
Yeah, like a nice Super Bowl party. Just get some wings and stuff. Enjoy
I mess
it.
With that.
I love when I go on TikTok and see the commercial of Gronk with like the paper towels and like the wings, like some wings with me. That's like one of the funniest things.
Oh,
but
man.
no, I really want to get back to your Brady and Mahomes take.
Yeah.
Because I really like what you said. No, Brady is going to be one of the most accomplished, if not the most accomplished. I think with Mahomes' career, he's definitely going to win 3 or 4.
Yeah.
He's going to win 3 or 4. I think how it's going to be is Mahomes is going to have the greatest statistics of a quarterback if he's healthy his whole entire career.
Yeah.
Because he's one of only 2 quarterbacks that have had 2 40 touchdown and 5,000 passing yard season, and he's tied with Drew Brees. Drew Brees did that twice in his career. Mahomes has done it 2 of 4 years. 5 years.
5 years he started. Yeah, because he started.
So Mahomes will have the talent to if he could be the GOAT, and Brady's going to have the accomplishments. But either or, if you put those two together and you put them 1 and 2 at the end of their careers, I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
like I said,
I mean they could be interchangeable, but I do. As much as I hate to say it, I do think Patrick Mahomes is going to be the greatest of all time before it's all said and done.
Well, we'll see if this this weekend's game, the Super Bowl, will help him get there, because if he wins that and then gets another Super Bowl MVP with the MVP, because it's pretty much sure lock and fire that he's winning the MVP this season.
It depends on if Jalen wins.
A lot of people, well, I know that the NFL on Fox has given their awards and they picked Patrick Mahomes, and I think NFLPA has also given Mahomes the MVP.
I think it might go to Jalen, but
the reason why it might not is because he missed 2 games, and also, you look at that team. People said,
the schedule.
Well, the schedule and also what Mahomes did this season. He accomplished something, like I said, that only one of the quarterbacks has done twice in their career.
Yeah, people do love a good story.
They do love a good story, but either or, if it's Jalen Hurts or Mahomes, I'm not upset because both of them deserve it. They're the two who deserve it the most.
Yeah.
If we're looking at their stats. But I'm actually happy that the NFL didn't make it 5 quarterbacks and they put Justin Jefferson in there, because he's definitely going to win Offensive Player of the Year.
Oh, for sure. Breaking the record?
Oh, yeah. He's going to get it.
He's definitely getting that.
But
if nobody else gets it. If he doesn't get that award, my goodness, there's going to be an uproar.
Yeah, especially Vikings fans. They're not going to be too happy about that.
I don't think the Vikings fan can be kind of, I don't think they can be happy about anything right now, because Justin Jefferson is...
Their team is definitely going to take a step back this coming year.
Yeah, because I don't know. Justin Jefferson might be looking at other options right now.
I think you maybe could give it another year. Yeah, next year, if Kirk is still there, Kirk Cousins still there, they still have the same team or like a little bit less talented. I think they'll still be a playoff team, but they're definitely going to be a lower echelon tier, because it looks like the Lions might take that division next year with how talented they are and how young they are.
That is insane.
I know.
Did you ever think we would say that the Lions might take their division?
Well, with how they looked towards the end of the season, yes. But at the beginning, people were probably like, well, you looked at, you started the season off with Hawkinson, Amon-Ra was coming up. We didn't expect what he did. But you know what's crazy? I think someone asked, it was either Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson, of who they thought the best receiver in their draft class was.
Yeah.
And one of them said it was Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like, who's the most talented? They said Amon-Ra, which was insane to me. But now when we're looking at it, I mean, he's got a quarterback that trusts him in Jared Goff, but obviously Hawkinson left. But I think, was it Brandon Wright, who was the backup tight end? He played really well as well. I definitely think Jared Goff loves throwing to his tight ends as well. But yeah, no, that Lions team is really young. I don't know if we're going to see a quarterback change. I don't think we will. I think Dan Campbell loves Jared Goff, because Jared Goff isn't that old. Like, he's like, Jared Goff is not a bad QB. I just personally think that he's got a lot of flack with what's happened, obviously, the last couple of years. Which, when he came in his first season with the Lions and they went like 3-13, that was not his fault. I mean, he came into a Lions team that was very young with an old quarterback in Stafford, and he was never going to live up to Stafford's potential. Like, no Jared Goff's never going to be a Stafford type. Like, Stafford's probably going to be one of the most underrated quarterbacks of all time.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a Super Bowl. He got his flowers.
Carried that Lions team for years.
Obviously, not the drive with the dislocated shoulder.
Yeah,
really cemented.
I mean, yes, he had Calvin Johnson, I think, for a little bit of his career, but
Megatron.
But he retired really early.
Yeah.
So, like, we got to give some praise to Matt Stafford and Jared Goff for
absolutely,
and Dan Campbell. He's definitely a top.
Oh yeah, Dan Campbell's job is safe for at least 2 seasons.
What are we saying? Maybe like 11-6 record for the Lions next year. Maybe 10-7. At least a game or 2 more. What do we think?
I'll say 11-6.
Because let's be real, Aaron Rodgers is not staying on Green Bay.
I think he goes. Nope. I was going to say.
We'll talk about that. Let's get to our last segment of the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're talking about the Super Bowl a lot. Who is your favorite player coming into this, or who do you think will have the biggest game? For both sides, we could say. Or you pick one.
Oh, gosh. If I had to pick any player to have a big game besides a quarterback, because the quarterbacks are either going to have a big game or they're not. Mm-hmm. Straight up like that. I'm going to say Devontae Smith.
Yeah, that's probably what was going to be mine too.
Devontae Smith.
Yeah.
Easily. Because I'm not going to lie. The Chiefs defense is going to have their hands full with Jalen Hurts maybe like running the ball like a couple times.
They're going to be putting if L'Jarius Sneed is healthy, they're going to putting him on A.J. Brown.
Yeah, I was about to say, do you double team Brown and give Devontae Smith a one-on-one, or do you double team Smith and give Brown a one-on-one? No, I'm saying Devontae Smith because I'm calling it right now. Devontae Smith's going to have at least 2 touchdowns in the Super Bowl.
2 touchdowns?
2 touchdowns easily.
I think with you looking at it, I think they're definitely going to be watching the run. AJ Brown's going to be not held up, I should say. He's definitely going to be,
he's going to be trained.
Not to his level of play.
Yeah,
because they're definitely going to focus on him. I think the Chiefs, what they've done this year, it's been a little bit struggling trying to protect the deep ball.
Yeah.
But I don't think Jalen Hurts has the best arm for the deep ball, so I think that's where the Chiefs have a little bit, because there's been a couple throws that Jalen Hurts has kind of overthrown.
Yeah.
But no, Jalen Hurts can still throw like dots.
Easily.
Yeah.
Easily.
But
yeah, Devontae Smith.
Devontae Smith has the potential to be the number 1 wide receiver on any Super Bowl team. He does.
Yeah.
Because he's still so young. A.J. Brown's proven he's the top receiver of a team. Devontae Smith, he played, obviously, and he was a great number 1, but he's still so young.
Yeah.
So
and just to see this type of greatness for someone who is that young, I think he might be the difference maker in the Super Bowl.
Definitely for the Eagles, yes, because like I said, I think that run game is going to be held up a little bit. So I think, like I said, Jalen Hurts is going to have to throw some passes. He's going to have to throw some deep balls.
Yeah,
but
more than likely they're going to Devontae Smith.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the guy they're going to look at. Dallas Goedert, I think the Chiefs will do a pretty okay, because I think they actually did pretty good against the tight ends, holding them to not huge yard gains, which is good. So yeah, it's definitely going to come down to him, I think. Chiefs wise, I mean, we already know that Travis Kelce's going to get his throws. He's definitely going to get his throws. So if we're looking at a guy that, okay, so if Juju and Kadarius Toney comes back, Kadarius Toney actually in that Bengals game was people looked at him as the X factor, because Kadarius Toney, he will not be stopped. He's one of the hardest guys to tackle at the wide receiver position. Even when he was on the Giants, people said he was one of the hardest guys in their draft class to tackle.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy is that he's not the biggest wide receiver, not like an AJ Brown type, but he's so slick when it comes to how he moves his body, how he gets away from defenders, and he's strong too, which is something that's very underrated. You could look at someone like him. I think I'm looking at Sky Moore. If Sky Moore can have a big game,
I mean, this is true. I mean, he did have that big return.
Yeah.
In the Bengals game.
Well, a lot of people have been comparing Sky Moore to a Julian Edelman type of player.
Whoa, that's a good comparison.
Yeah, because Julian Edelman's not the big wide receiver. He's a small guy.
He's a small guy who's scrappy.
Who's a great route runner, underrated route running for Julian Edelman. Like that man, oh my gosh.
Yeah, Julian. Why do you think I was a Patriots fan when Brady was there? He had Julian Edelman to throw to.
Julian Edelman, I mean, with what he did in his career, Super Bowl MVP. But yeah, I think definitely because McCole Hardman's going to be out, which is really sad.
Yeah.
But it's definitely going to be interchangeable at the third with Justin Watson and Sky Moore, but I think if Sky Moore can have a couple good receptions.
So Sky Moore is your pick?
It's either him or it's going to be Pacheco. Because Pacheco, oh my gosh, you know what my dad calls him?
What?
The Energizer Bunny, with how he runs, because it looks like he's doing high knees while he's running. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
His knees are so high when he's running. I think it's because he's trying to really get that, if you're really staying mobile on your feet, you're able to get out quick, make some good moves and stuff like that. One of those two definitely, if they can come alive, especially if we can get the run game going, because I know the Chiefs, they never really rely on their run game too much.
No.
If Pacheco can get some good runs in, some 9 to 10 yard action runs.
Oh my gosh, this is gonna be so good.
It's gonna be a great Super Bowl. I think people are really they're trying to overrate the Chiefs, and I'm not gonna discredit how the Eagles got the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But you versus the Giants. Daniel Jones, once again, he's a guy who, I think Daniel Jones has definitely come alive this season, but come on, that Giants team was never going to beat the Eagles.
I think he's going to be on clipboard duty next season.
Yeah. Really? You don't think he's going to?
Oh, absolutely not. There's no way you spin the block with Daniel Jones. No way.
Well, he's technically a free agent.
Exactly.
But yeah, you look at that, but
no, they're gonna blow it up. They're gonna send him he's gonna go somewhere, and they're gonna get another quarterback.
Yeah.
But that's another topic for
they do love Daniel Jones over there. So Brian Dable, I think is his name. He loves Daniel Jones. I think he does love Daniel Jones.
I'm just saying, if they get a solid quarterback, say you drop say a Brock Purdy on the Giants. I could.
We'll talk more about that, but
yeah.
let's get into the final thing I want to say. That 49ers team, they kind of gave up once they saw Brock Purdy went down there.
Oh yeah, that was wraps.
They knew, like, look, I know 49ers fans can be like, our team did try. Your team did try, but let's be real. Did you really think you were going to beat the Eagles? I think really, like, except for 49ers fans, I think we all realize, yes, Brock Purdy played great, but look at what the weapons he had. If you give any of the other top 5 quarterbacks, if you could Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Burrow, Lamar, anyone else, those wide receivers, and that running back and Christian McCaffrey, who's a dual threat, come on. That would have been the favorite.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing out random stuff out there because you never know what will happen in the offseason.
But Brock Purdy definitely is a good quarterback, but I don't think he's going to be starting next season. I think they're going to give it to Trey Lance, and if he doesn't do great, then they'll probably give it back to Brock Purdy if they sign him.
The disrespect.
Well, you drafted Trey Lance at 5. You can't give up on him already. You have to give him a chance.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's what that wraps up our
Super Bowl podcast.
Yeah, our Super Bowl. Well, no, we're going to move into the off season. Now we're going to talk about the off season a little bit because there are some big name free agents.
I totally forgot about the offseason.
The offseason. 2023 offseason. We have big names. Lamar Jackson.
Oh, gosh.
DeAndre Hopkins is looking probably to be traded because J.J. Watt has retired.
Yeah.
And that
that
Cardinals
team is not it.
Yep. You got guys like Marcus Peters. You have Orlando Brown Jr. You have Jesse Bates, Mike Gesicki, Schultz. Like, this is
Gesicki is going to be a free agent?
Yep. You have DJ Chark, who's a great second or third option. Evan Ingram, Jason Kelsey is another one, which I don't think he's going to lead the Eagles.
No way he leaves the Eagles.
You never know. Guys like Baker Mayfield, unless he signs back. Apparently Saquon Barkley is too. Jimmy Garoppolo. The list goes on. Even Daniel Jones. The list goes on.
Golly.
And a lot of people. I think the biggest name is Lamar Jackson. It's definitely Lamar Jackson.
Really?
Oh yeah, I think Lamar Jackson is definitely the big name. Come on,
what?
If he goes to a lot of people have been saying him for different teams. I've heard. I think the biggest one is the Falcons. Funny enough for him. And my process on that is
just going to embrace the
culture there.
Culture.
But also, I thought to myself, I was like, really? Why would he go there? And then I realized it. You have a guy like Kyle Pitts, young tight end, and when you think about it, Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews actually came in together in this league. Kyle Pitts is a very young tight end. He loves throwing to his tight ends.
He does love throwing.
And Kyle Pitts can definitely be a top 5 tight end in this league. He has the potential. He's good enough. Obviously, he's injured. But then you got a guy like Drake London, and I'm like, okay, that's going to be interesting. But then I'm like, okay, well, this is kind of like the same situation with, the Ravens. So, I can understand where they're coming from with the Kyle Pitts pick, but you have to get another receiver for him.
Yeah.
Because the run game is Tyler Algier.
Bring D-Hop in or something.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was
D-Hop
if the Falcons get Lamar Jackson and D-Hop, I think you have to get someone to entice Lamar Jackson to come in. You have to be like, hey, we're getting this guy. And I think this guy would be DeAndre Hopkins. Think of Lamar and DeAndre Hopkins. That is a scary duo to That is a scary duo because he could roll out, he could throw that ball across the field.
Swing that thing to D-Hop.
Because especially if you have DeAndre Hopkins, you have Drake London and Kyle Pitts to throw to, that's a scary 3 right there. That's a scary big 3.
Oh my God.
Because also, if you sign a guy like DeAndre or trade for a guy like DeAndre Hopkins, think of how much he could teach Drake London. Think about that. How much he could definitely.
D-Hop was the number 1 receiver
at one point. Yeah, he definitely was.
Now, not even. Well, he's top 10 now, but.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but let me ask you, we're going to talk about a couple guys. Where would you put Lamar Jackson? Let's talk about QBs. We'll talk about QBs in this, and we'll probably wrap up.
All right.
QB number 1, Lamar Jackson. Where are you putting him?
Let me think here. Let me think because the Ravens have not done a solid job building around him.
No.
They have, and people say, oh, well, he has freaking Devin Duvernay, Rashawn Bateman. I had to think about who those receivers were.
Yeah.
That I don't need to think about that, you know? So let's see.
But, they were also like, well, he throws mostly to his tight ends. And yes, Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely are great, but you can't just throw to your tight ends. You have to trust your wide receivers, which is something where I think he was struggling to do because they're still so young. Bateman's a great receiver, don't get me wrong, but he's not your number one guy.
Yeah. In all honesty, it's gonna sound really weird, but it's happened before, and I think that this could actually work.
Yeah.
I would put Lamar Jackson on the Patriots.
Patriots?
The Patriots.
But then do you trade Mac Jones? You have to at that point.
I think Mac Jones takes a backseat. I mean, granted, don't get me wrong. Mac Jones is a great quarterback. But if you put Lamar Jackson with Bill Belichick teaches him the system. I think that Patriots team could do some defense. Shout out to my man Boston.
I definitely think that it would be interesting, especially because you guys got guys like Jacoby Myers.
It has to be the Patriots for me.
But that wasn't really my pick. I honestly think
the Patriots.
If you're looking at talent and you're looking for him to be on a team, if you're Lamar Jackson and if you're looking at a team that you think has a lot of firepower on it, what about the Bucks?
No.
What about the Bucks?
No.
Why not?
No.
But here's the thing: the Bucks are definitely going for a quarterback. Because let's be honest, you're not playing Kyle Trask.
No.
Why not?
No. I would rather. Oh no. Lamar Jackson to the Bucks.
You got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin.
I don't care. Lamar Jackson is better than the Bucks. He can do better than the Bucks.
What about? Which I don't think this would ever happen. People were saying the Raiders, and I'm like, why would he go into his?
No, why would he do that? Why would you do that?
See, a lot of people, like a lot of quarterbacks. If I'm a quarterback, I'm not going anywhere near the Raiders. Like if you want to play in the division with, I know Russ didn't play great, but you're still playing against a Broncos defense, Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes. Like, why would you go there? No, definitely a guy like. Honestly,
yeah.
What if Jimmy went? I know Devontae Adams is trying to get Aaron Rodgers, which that was the speculated team for him to go to last offseason. But what if you got a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo there? Do you think that would work?
Jimmy
in Raiders, on the Raiders, Las Vegas. It wouldn't be bad.
No, it wouldn't be bad. I just think it'd be weird.
It'd be weird, but here's the thing. He loves throwing to his tight end, and he had Kittle. He going from Kittle to Waller, which is not much of a downgrade
and then he has Crosby.
And then you have Max Crosby on the defensive side. You have Devontae Adams,
and you have Devontae Adams.
Is definitely better than Debo, obviously. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna let that one slide because we're running out of time, but we'll talk about that later. But no, I can see it.
It would definitely work for Jimmy. It would definitely be a good system for him to go to because I don't think Jimmy's a bad quarterback at all. I just think he's injuries, and a lot of people like to put all the blame on him a lot more than I think other players.
Yeah.
But I think that would maybe work for Jimmy. I know it'd be a tough division to play in. I think the Raiders are definitely going to be probably, unless you get a great quarterback, I think they might be the low seed in there. Maybe the Broncos. Yeah. I don't know. I think the Broncos are definitely
I think the Broncos will get it together now that Nathaniel Hackett's out the door.
Yeah, and I think they're definitely going to sign a couple guys because let's be real, that Broncos team has a
awful.
lot. Yeah, it was awful, but they still have a lot of great pieces.
Yeah.
If they draft well,
they still got Judy.
They got Sutton.
They got Sutton. Yeah.
Which, if you're not liking the Sutton, you're like Jerry Jeudy, you could always trade Sutton. You're going to get great trade value for Cortland Sutton if you don't want
on me.
But yeah, so I guess Jimmy, that was probably what I would go. I would say maybe Las Vegas.
Las Vegas?
Because I know Aaron Rodgers is also looking, and I know Devontae Adams is trying to get Aaron, but if I'm Aaron,
I don't know. I've been hearing rumors that Mr. Rodgers may be moving to a neighborhood in New York.
Yeah, the Jets.
The Jets.
Which is crazy to me, because why the Jets?
I don't know. I think he can make it work up there.
He could. But that team's also still very young.
But think about it. He's very old. He could whip that team into shape.
He could help out the QBs there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe he'd get either Mike White or Zach Wilson to actually step up and be the guy. Which I think Mike White got injured.
I'm about to say Zach Wilson.
I mean,
come on.
Well, when you got an apprentice like Rodgers, like
he's not gonna. You could bring in Tom Brady and freaking Zach Wilson wouldn't do anything.
Well, that's why I also said Mike White.
Yeah.
Because Mike White actually is showing.
Mike White is showing signs of being a solid quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson is done.
Maybe not a franchise, but he could definitely win you some games.
I said solid quarterback, not franchise.
Yeah, no, definitely not franchise.
Definitely not franchise. But I'm saying Zach Wilson is done, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's done.
All right, that goes into my next quarterback. Where do you see Daniel Jones going?
I was waiting on this one. And you are going to be absolutely not shocked at all. Indianapolis.
Really?
Yeah. I feel like he'd fit there. Only because him and Matt Ryan are like the same caliber of quarterback.
More mobile.
Yeah, I'm about to say Daniel Jones can move a bit more, but they're both like game manager types. Mm-hmm. They both have decent arms.
Yes.
And I feel like if you slot Daniel Jones into the Indy system,
mm-hmm.
with some give me some receivers here. Give me some receivers for the Colts. Pittman.
Yes, I think he's the biggest.
If he can form a partnership with Pittman,
and you got Jonathan
Taylor.
Yeah.
How did I forget about JT? Yeah. If you put Daniel Jones there, I mean, I give them at least 8 games. At least 8. Being a respectable.
It wouldn't be bad. I still think he's probably going to come back to the Giants because I think the relationship he has with the guys there is great.
No.
Also, let's be real. The receiving core is not great for the Giants. I think that's one thing that held them back. Look who he's throwing to. I mean, Darius Slayton's not bad, but Sterling Shepard went down with an injury.
Yeah.
You got guys like Richie James Jr., which is not, he's not bad.
You can't just keep handing it off to Saquon and hoping he can get to the end zone.
Yeah.
Like, you have to throw it to somebody.
Yeah. I mean, that game that he had against the Vikings was, that was prime Daniel Jones. Yeah. I don't think the Colts are bad. I know a lot of people joke around and put Derek Carr with the Colts because, they're like, oh, Derek Carr didn't have a great season, so obviously he's going to go to the Colts. That's not a bad place for him to go. But yeah, no, I know. I mean, I could see that with how you broke it down. I could see that happening because it's definitely the same system. But I think I believe that the Indianapolis Colts have a better defense than the Giants, it could work. Yeah, definitely.
That's what I'm saying. Daniel Jones to the Colts.
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
I think one I want to go into is Derek Carr.
I know. Why?
That's a big one.
No.
Some people said the Jets. Colts was a joke. Okay, you didn't like the Lamar Jackson. Would you like Derek Carr then going to the Bucs? I'm just wondering.
Yes.
Okay.
I easily the eyeliner king himself in frickin' Tampa. Yeah, for sure. I feel like he'd fit their culture, not their system, but their culture down there. Because he's like a rough go get it type of quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a rough go get it type of team.
I also think if you're trying to win now, though, a team I know they have 2 young quarterbacks, but a team like San Fran, if they want to win now and give both their young guys a year to really grasp what they're getting themselves into when it comes to this team.
DC to San Fran?
Yeah.
Really?
I don't think it would be a bad fit at all. I think it'd actually be really good because I think Derek Carr's obviously better than Jimmy.
Oh.
Come on. Derek Carr had some good years in the Raiders.
Oh.
Jimmy's been very unhealthy too, so that's probably why.
Okay, no.
He's been very unhealthy.
You make a valid point, but
I mean,
Garoppolo has a Super Bowl.
He definitely, but
Garoppolo has a Super Bowl.
Yeah, but he wasn't the Patriots. He was playing backup.
But he still has a Super Bowl.
I understand, but he's a backup. On that team.
What? Okay.
But I'm just saying, it would be because obviously Derek Carr's more proven than Trey Lance and Brock Purdy. I know how great Brock Purdy was this season, but you need to give him more time. We need more time to see Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy is going to be the starting QB for the San Francisco 49ers, believe me.
But also that a lot of people talk about how easy the Eagles' schedule was. 49ers schedule was not that much harder than the Eagles was.
Oh, don't say that.
It was not much harder. Well, because I think they played the Rams twice. They played the Cardinals twice.
Yeah.
They played the Seahawks twice. And let's be real, Seahawks were definitely a better team than the Seahawks. They were okay, but they're not upper echelon.
No, they were like a mid team.
And they're versing those guys 6 times. Come on.
Yeah.
It's not that much of a difference. Yeah. And I think, it's definitely going to be – we're going to see a lot of quarterbacks show their true colors and how good they actually are in this coming season. But you never know. But I think that pretty much wraps up what we're trying to go with for this with this.
I would just like to point out that both of my picks to go to San Fran are not going to San Fran anymore.
Yeah.
With Tom Brady retiring and Aaron Rodgers telling the world that he does not want to go to San Francisco.
Yep.
So, that's it for me.
Alrighty, guys. Well, that is the podcast for today. We want to thank you guys so much for watching.
Yeah.
Please listen to us on YouTube, Spotify, and iHeartRadio, all
Yes,
one
sir.
mic trio. We also
Yep.
have a TikTok page. We're
Go follow it.
28 followers away from 1,700, which is amazing.
We're trying to get to 2K by the end of the month.
Plus, we also have an Instagram, one mic trio as well. Trying to build that up.
Go follow the socials.
We're trying to post more on it to keep you guys updated with what we're doing and how the podcast is going.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's it. Anything else, Greg?
Nah, bro, that's a wrap. Thanks for listening, guys. We appreciate you. Have a great rest of your day.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Peace out.
See ya.